Hi,
Hi, Debbie.
Katie.
How are you?
I am so excited to finally be speaking with you, Katie.
Oh, that's so sweet. Hi.
I
Well, I am so excited to be speaking with you.
I am such an admirer of your work, and for decades now, I think I've been making my way through your entire extended family doing interviews with everyone.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, that's hilarious. Also amazing. Oh yeah, third generation. That's what you
that
get.
yes, indeed, you are. And I had the privilege. I knew your dad briefly back in his heyday.
Aw,
Um,
that's so sweet. I love to hear that.
so
He's a good man. Had a like a wonderful, beautiful heart and soul.
Well, what I'm most impressed about with you, Katie, is that you have drawn on being a third generation entertainer because you're the
Mhm.
package deal. You can sing, you can act, you can do comedy, you can do drama. Is watching you grow as a performer
Mhm.
over the years.
I have chills. Thank you for saying that. That makes me thank you. That's so nice of you.
I mean, you just have taken the bull by the horns. You've gone out and expanded your horizons. You've done comedy, such as Monte Carlo. You've done very successful TV series, so you understand that grind. You've done horror, Black Christmas. I love your version.
Oh my gosh, I was like 18 when
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think when
I've
I
been watching you since, going back to the days of Black Christmas, Taken, in your role of Amanda all the way up to now. And I have to say, watching you in Agent Game, wow, 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 wow. Katie, you blew me away with your performance.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so nice of you. I sorry to say I actually haven't seen it, but I'm gonna watch it today. Um, but I thank you. That's so like thank you. That's so nice.
You,
It was really fun and difficult at the same time to shoot because it was still sort of during COVID as we still are. But it was it was tough, but it was good. I think I just sort of leaned into that, tried to use it as much as possible.
well, and the way that
Um,
the film is structured, I think that worked really well because number one, it's non-linear. Which, as you're, I can just imagine when you're reading the script and you're flipping back pages. Okay, wait a minute, wait a minute. Let me go back to 2 weeks ago. Okay, let me go forward 3 weeks to see what's happening. But because nobody knows anybody else when you get thrown into this situation, I think that works really well. Having shot this during quote unquote lockdown and COVID protocols. And
oh yeah, totally. And it actually, for myself as an actor, my character, like you said, these characters they don't trust anyone. They don't know each other. They don't know they're getting, and that's what happened. Like I flew into Atlanta, and all of a sudden you're shooting, and you hit the ground running. But some of the cast would hang out and have lunch with, like Mel Gibson when he was shooting and when we were shooting, and I wrote him a letter as we wrapped, or as he was rapping, and I just because I wasn't, I kind of isolated myself from everyone because my character doesn't trust anyone. So
right.
for me as an actor, that's just what I try to lean into the character while I'm there as much as possible, and so that's kind of how I did it. And it's actually interesting because like when I'm glad to hear it worked or it helped. It sounds like that you really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. But I recently talked to Aiden, and I was like, Aiden, I'm so sorry when we were shooting. I should have said something, but like, my character didn't like you. My character didn't trust you, so I was a little standoffish. And I'm actually like a really nice person. He's like, Katie. I know. It's all good, girl. You're doing your thing, and you got to focus, and everyone has to each their own. So it's a cool, interesting experience always.
but that's one of the great things about what you brought to Miller, because Miller is so cold and steely. And by the way, the black hair looks great. You know,
Oh, thanks.
cold and steely, and you really kept me guessing until the third act of the film what side of the fence you were on, because we're starting to see the pieces of the puzzle. This, as I talked to Grant, and this whole thing, it's a chess game of who's moving who's the puppet master, who's the king, who's the queen. And we still don't know ultimately who was really pulling all the strings here.
Well, there's more to the story, right?
There's a lot more to this story. But what I love what you do is the nonchalance when we first meet Miller and you're on a stakeout. And as I was an Uber driver for 6 months. And I think that's one of the greatest lines of the film, because you threw it out there, and it was funny to hear it and then to see the reaction. It's like, you got to be kidding me, an Uber driver, and now she's
to be honest with you, I don't remember what the line was.
It was hilarious. You did it deadpan.
What am I, your Uber driver or something?
Yeah.
Like that?
It was like, well, yeah, 6 months ago I was driving Uber, something like that, which just
Oh,
really,
right. Got it, yeah.
it just adds so much more mystery to what's unfolding. We've got Aiden's character of Kavinsky, who's fumbling with zippers on a bag that has weaponry and armament in it. And it's like, has he ever done this before? You've got Reese Coro as Reese, and he's just there. He'll go along with anything. So each of you complements the other, but watching you leading the way with the mistrust was really interesting, and you did such an excellent job of that, Katie, of getting into the mindset.
Thank you so much.
Then on top of this, this is really, it gets action heavy. This film gets very action heavy. Now, I know you've done some action before, but not like this. This is like major firefight kind of action, man on man. What was that like for you? Did you go through any training? Did they throw in a stunt double for you for everything? What was that experience like?
This is the great news. So, I'm like, here's the great news. Let me just tell you.
Yes.
So basically, when I got hired and I signed on to this film, first of all, yes, I had to read after I read it the first time, I then had to reread it like 2 other times. So or maybe even 3 other times, just because you're right, it's non-linear. But I come from, when I was on Arrow, I try to be as true to the character to a certain extent. Obviously, I'm not going to go out, I'm playing a killer, I'm not going to ever do that.
Yeah, not that method.
I try to live close to the character, and with Arrow, when Laurel went from being, pro bono lawyer to a lawyer to DA to then she goes and becomes the Black Canary. I actually went through a lot of fight training, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, weapon training, and the character went through it on the show as well. So because I like to stay as true to the character as possible, I was kind of like going through the same shit my character was going through. It was a lot. I was waking up at 4 a.m, working out, developing muscle, and changing. I had a nutritionist, because you have to change eating habits when it comes to having how much protein you have when you really want to put on muscle mass. So that was an interesting experience, but I loved it so much, and it made me feel so good that I've continued. And so when I got to Atlanta, the second I got to set, I was like, okay, wait, who is the stunt coordinator? I need to talk to him immediately. They were like, okay. So I spoke to the stunt coordinator, and I was like, listen, I can do I could do some dope shit. I've been doing this, I know how to use weapons. I'm in really good shape. I continue to train. So, use me for that. Let's do something cool. So it actually is in the trailer. There is yes, that was me with the rifles and the running and all of it. It was exhausting. It was tough. But luckily I am healthy and I stay in shape and work out all the time. I didn't have to. I like to believe in you don't get ready. You are ready. As an actor, that's just how I feel. So and I want to play roles like this. I love action. I love suspense. I love thrillers. I love strong female leads. So I will and also it's good for you. So I'll forever, work out and stay in shape so that when something does come, like Agent Game, seamless. And there is this moment in the trailer where you see Miller kind of do this twist on her knees, which really badass and then shoot off the rifle. Like, it was just really fun. And I was ready to go. Once they said jump, I was like, great, how high? What do you want me to do?
Oh my God. Well,
yeah.
I have to say that it's very clear that either you had training for this film or prior experience through other roles, such as on Arrow, with handling weapons. Your
Oh, you want to
weaponry.
know something funny? And I'm sorry to say this, but I am going to say this. Yeah, so one of my mentors as a director, but he comes from the stunt world. Like, he was a stunt coordinator on Arrow. His name's James Bamford. He's incredible. He's a director, producer now. He comes from the stunt world. He was so adamant about a few things. One, so I shadowed him. He guided me, you know, because as I'm directing now, I learned a lot, and I directed an episode of Arrow and went through the WB Directors Program, and I'm like, whoa, this might be my true calling. But I will forever always act. I love it too. Having said that, when we were on set, there was two different things. One, and this is before everything that story happened on set, you know, the Alec Baldwin movie and the DP and that tragedy. I learned, though, because James Bamford hammered home into my head when I shouted him a bunch, and you know, he's like a brother from another mother to me. You check your weapon, you get a flashlight or ask your props person, and you shine a flashlight down the barrel because these are real weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So on a set like that, for the first few weeks, I was the only female, but I was not afraid to be like, hi, I need you to take every weapon here, and I need you to show me that it's empty. Like, I want to look down the barrel and see the flashlight through the empty barrel because stuff happens, and look, you know, shit happens. And so that happened, but also, and I'm sorry I'm saying this, I love Aiden. He's a fucking amazing human being, and he's an incredible actor, and so much respect. But I don't think that I haven't seen it, but there's a standoff or a draw. We draw our weapons at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, when we did that, the first time we did it, well, every time we did it, I always got my weapon out and drew my weapon first before he did. Not for any other reason other than I've been working with weapons for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So I know how to do it, and it's quick. And I think he had some training too, of course, but I think that sort of, you know, he didn't really expect that. He kind of fumbled. But I was like, yeah, sorry, I gotta just take this one for the ladies. That's right, I just drew my weapon and I did it a lot quicker than you did.
No, I mean, your handling of weaponry is so smooth, so seamless. It looks like Miller has been doing this her entire life. And that adds so much.
I can't wait to see it.
It adds so much to the film, Katie, when you have an actor who is as proficient as you in a role like this, and you bring that, because there's nothing worse than watching a film, and even if somebody's had a little training but they're not smooth, and you can tell, you lose, you know, you don't believe the character, you don't believe the performance. But there is not a minute in this film that you do not believe the intensity and the skill of Miller, and that's because of your performance.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's very nice to hear. I appreciate it. I'm excited to see the film for sure. It's also hard for me to watch myself, though, to be honest. So I can't wait to see it. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm glad that it came across because I really put a lot of work and time and effort, and as I do everything, like, you know, I like to say hard work pays off, and I'm excited to see it.
It pays off here. You know, what was your experience like working with Grant? You've now worked with so many directors. You've now been around the industry long enough. You have a feel for good directors, bad directors. And especially on a film like this, a good director is so important, as is your stunt coordinator and your second unit. What was it like working with Grant as a director on this film? Because he is so passionate, he is so particular and exacting with what he does and how he views film. So I'm curious about your experience with him.
He's great. He's wonderful. I mean, I I believe they kept it in, but at the end of the film, so when I do NFTs, and I was the first, like last year, right before I left for Agent Game to go shoot it, I dropped an NFT that was empowering women and you know, learning us, not just women, people in general, like to love yourself first before you can love anyone else. And but in these NFTs that I've been doing, it's interesting because I've been wearing this like short bob, this bleached little bob wig. So I brought it with me when I went to Georgia because I was like, oh, you guys, to Grant and Tyler, I was like, I have such a good idea. In the ending, what do you think about Miller wearing this wig? And I sent some of the pictures, and they were like, oh my gosh, yes, but you didn't bring it with you, did you? I was like, oh no, yes I did. I have the wig, it's in my suitcase, because I wanted to pitch this idea to you guys. And to have, it's really cool as an artist or creator, or, you know, I've been writing, I've been directing, I've been producing, like, just for others, like Grant and Tyler, to be open and collaborative. And they were like, yeah, that's amazing, we love that idea. So, like, they let me kind of bring my little quirks that I felt, for whatever reason, came out of Miller in me. They let me do my thing, and they, you know, they were really respectful.
Well, and see, and that's important with a role like Miller because we picked this story up midstream. We're seeing a shootout in a stairwell and somebody's taken captive. We're in interrogation cells. We're going back and forth. We don't really get a backstory. So you've got to watch the characters and listen and look for those little things to figure out who they are. And that's half the fun in a film like this, is figuring out who these people are. So I think it's great that there in the third act, it's like, hey, wear the blonde wig. It works for the character. It works for the third act. It works as a setup for hopefully a sequel. I think it's great because of the nature of this film, with it being non-linear and the action. How strictly did you all have to stick with the script? Did you have room to ad-lib dialogue? Or was everything...
Oh, no, they were definitely open to our thoughts and changes if we... Maybe not changes, but, you know, Grant was very flexible in that way, and that's really great. You know, again, as they allow an actor sort of to put this is our interpretation of the character, and if something isn't working, we don't want it to sound forced, and he was totally open to collaboration.
Mm-hmm. You always take something, you know, obviously working on Arrow, you took away learning action and weaponry and armament. With your other films, you hone your comedy skills. What did you learn about
By the way, speaking really quickly, sidebar, speaking of comedy, I'm directing my first feature, which is a raunchy comedy.
Yay!
It's called Daddy Issues. I have 3 dads. Well, my biological dad, may he rest in peace. In the human form, I have 2 now, but it's a raunchy comedy, coming-of-age movie about these 3 women in their early 30s who are trying to grow the fuck up but can't get their shit together based off their dysfunctional relationships that they had growing up with their fathers. It's amazing. I am these 3 girls wrapped up in one. Marina Studios is producing. They just did the Whitney biopic. Meg McKegg and Maria Bertrand wrote the movie. It's hilarious. I'm so excited. We're going in August this year.
Oh, you have me excited now, Katie.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. This is one for the ladies, okay?
Oh my God.
But men are going to like it too. It's going to be great. I can't wait to talk to you about it when we premiere next year.
Oh my God.
At one of these film festivals, we'll have another interview. I can't wait to tell you about it.
You have me now excited for this film.
The shit out of this movie.
Oh my God. Now, are you going to be in it or just direct?
I might have an appearance.
Okay.
Here or there. Yes, I think I will be regardless in it. I'm not sure exactly what role just yet. It's sort of going to just depend on how it all shakes out. Because with casting right now, which we're really, really early on in the process, everything, you know, in the way I see it, it's just you have to, you know, there's dads in the movies, there's partners in the movies, and you got to look related, right?
Yep.
So we'll see how that shakes out. But Definitely
Ah.
open to it.
Ooh, I can't wait. Something to look forward to. You directing this one, a raunchy comedy. Not just being in a
Oh yeah,
comedy, but
lady.
I can't wait. But let me ask you about what you learned with Agent Game, because this is your first big thriller, action thriller. What did you learn about yourself as an actor that you can now take forward into your future roles, be it as a director in what to look for in other actors, be it as in an acting capacity? What did you learn about yourself from this film?
I have to trust my instincts and trust my instincts, but also, like I said, not be afraid to say, hey, what about this idea? I mean, everything I said and brought to the table, Tyler and Grant were like, that's amazing, a great idea. Which is great when you're creating something and you're making something and you've got other creative types coming from all different fields, from all over the world with all different experiences. Like, to just be there and support one another, that's like, that's all you can hope for. And I really felt like they trusted me and it allowed me to trust myself, and it sounds like it really showed, it came through. So I think it's more about trusting myself and leaning into why I'm feeling I should head down this road in this direction. My subconscious or higher self like knows, and it'll all make sense. And I just need to, sometimes it's like dissecting out, figuring out why I'm wanting to go there. I know that might sound weird, but like, I got to go with my intuition and then figure out why, if that makes sense. Why do I want to do this like weird finger twitch to distract myself? Why am I distracted? You know what I mean? It's like hyper analyzing a character psychologically of why they would do what they do.
That makes perfect sense. And whatever you did to hyperanalyze Miller, it works, Katie. It works on screen.
Well, thank you. I can't wait to see the movie.
Oh, Katie, this has been so wonderful to get to speak with you today. And I can't wait till we do it again. And hopefully it's going to be for your raunchy comedy next year.
Daddy issues, yeah.
Daddy issues indeed. Oh, Katie, thank you so, so much. And enjoy watching the film tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye. Bye.